does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again for another episode of Games In, Games Out, where I talk about the games that I'm going to be keeping, the games that are getting knocked out of my collection, and the games that didn't even have a chance to get into my collection for one reason or another. So, starting off, we have Boo from Black Rock Games. This is one I got in Essen. I really like this game an awful lot. Very interesting game. You remember those games where you had, when you were a kid, where there was a maze? You had to take like a pen and try to find your way out of the maze? That's what this game essentially is, but for up to 6 players. So you're going to set up this haunted mansion. There's going to be a ghost and there's going to be a person, and you have to try to find the route to get the ghost to the person using only one color. So everyone's going to have this maze that they're trying to complete at the same time. Very interesting. The adults I played with really enjoyed it. The kids I played with it really enjoyed it. There's a couple special abilities in there where you can switch colors or trap doors, where you can go from this door to this door. Like this one an awful lot. It's got alternate victory conditions. Wholeheartedly recommend this one as a family weight game, as a game night filler game. Just really enjoyed this one. That is Boo from Black Rock Games. Next game that is going into my collection is Doodle Rush. And I don't remember if I gave this like an 8.8 or a 9. It might have a Bowers Best Seal on it. All I know is that I absolutely love this game. So this is the next game from Brain Games, and it's a very fast-paced drawing game where you're going to have 6 pictures that you are going to be drawing on these little dry erase things. And you only have 1 minute to draw 6 things, but you're going to be able to draw over the course of 3 rounds. Once you know what you're doing, this game literally can take about 6 to 7 minutes. That's how quick it is. You flip over a sand timer, then you draw, then you flip over a sand timer, and then everyone's going to guess, like, oh, that's a car, that's an envelope, that's a pen, that's a donkey. And you get points for things you guess right, and then at the end of the game, you also lose points for things that people don't guess. So you get points for both drawing and then also for guessing. Really like this game. Fantastic family game, fantastic party game, one that's going to be on my shelf for a very long time. That is Doodle Rush. Next game that I'm going to be getting rid of, let's start with getting rid of, is Dairyman from Tasty Minstrel Games. This is a game I actually enjoyed and recommended, but here's the thing, it just never got played once it got onto my shelf. My wife actually liked this one a lot better than I did. This is a very light, simple game where you are going to be making ice cream and making cheese by rolling dice. And I liked it. The rules were bad. That's the thing I remember about this game. And here's the catch-22. While I did enjoy this game and I thought it was a good game, it's 2 to 4 players, which I'm not a big fan of, very restricted player count, and also I don't remember how to play the game, which means in order to play the game, I'm going to have to read those rules again, which means I'm going to get frustrated again because I remember that the rules sucked. I remember they sucked because I remember Rondo, of Rondo's Run-Through, also reached out to me and said, hey, yeah, those rules didn't make that much sense. And if you got 2 guys who have played thousands of games between them, and they both don't understand your rules, that's a problem. So, Dairyman, I think it's a good seller for Tasty Minstrel Games. Good for them, but still not one that I'm going to be keeping because it just did not get played. Same with this one, Kodama from Indie Board and Cards and Action-Based Games. I remember enjoying this one. I remember recommending this one. I remember I really enjoyed building the tree and how tranquil this game was. This was the kind of game where you could sit around, you could talk to each other, you could build trees. Yes, there's strategy, but it still was a good socializing game. It's even got a little watch it played QR code on the back, which I remember really liking. So it was easy to learn the game, but still, it went on my shelf and it just never got played again, and I just don't have room for games like that because while I have a lot of great games, I also made a vow. And if you've never seen my channel, I made a vow when I first started this channel that I would review each and every game that I have on my shelf. And I have some very odd, very obscure, very bad, very long games that just sit on my shelf and take up space, so games like that might actually have room on my shelf, but instead I have these crappy games, and it just bugs me. But anyway, continuing on, where another game that's going out of my collection is That's a Question, the new one from CGE. I enjoyed this game, and I enjoyed the idea of this game. So essentially, you're going to make a question for someone, and it's be like, which of these would you choose? To be able to fly, to write the most beautiful ever song. And then that person's going to pick, and you're going to try and predict what that person picked, and then you're going to discuss it. And I love games like that, I really do, but this game was just missing that it factor. I couldn't put my finger on it. I remember in the review, I couldn't quite tell you what this game didn't do for me that I wanted it to do. But That's a Question just did not do it for me. It's one that's not going to make my collection, even though I did enjoy it. But still, That's a Question. I think a lot of people are going to like it. Just for me, it's not making the cut. 2 more games that are going into my collection. The first one is Feelings, the game of emotions. I love this game. So essentially, this is kind of like Dixit, but with emotions. Now, I remember I really like this game, and I'm going to modify this game with Sharpie markers, which I know is sacrilegious. It's something that I never, ever normally do, but I just wanted more feelings in this game. Also, this is a great party game because it's the kind of game like Say Anything and Pictionary, where eventually you're just going to be creating situations. So essentially how it works is you'll read aloud a question. So it'd be, a scientist has found the secret for immortality. And then everyone is going to pick how that makes them feel. Maybe it makes you feel angry because they're playing God, or satisfied because you know you live forever, or something like that. And then you're going to have a partner, or potentially two partners, who are going to try to predict how you would feel. Somewhat like That's a Question. And then you're all going to reveal, and you'll get points if you were able to successfully guess how your partner picked, or your partner was able to pick how you picked. But the partners change from round to round to round. All I know is I really hope this gets brought to America. The one big thing that did annoy me about this was the artwork is very bizarre, and the artist chose to really make all the characters have gigantic breasts, especially the women, with gigantic nipples. Like, absolutely absurdly large breasts and nipples, which is a very odd choice, but man, I absolutely love this game. It's probably my favorite game that I got from Essen. I'm going to be playing it for a very, very long time. One other game that's going out of my collection is Swords and Bagpipes from Right Games RBG. I really enjoyed this one. This is actually the prototype copy of the game. It's a social deduction game where you're playing as Scotland versus England, and I enjoyed it. I played it actually a couple times since I did my Kickstarter review for it, and I actually kept the Kickstarter prototype of the game, but it just hasn't gotten played in about a year now, so it's going out of the collection. And unfortunately, when they sent me the prototype, it was actually missing a piece, which means I can't just sell this game like I normally sell the games or give it to someone. So I'm actually going to take all the components and just dump it in my classroom and let the kids play with it. So this one is not only going out of my collection, it's going to be destroyed by a bunch of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids. Two more games. Next we have Doggy Bag from Blam. This is a very light, simple, family weight press your luck game that I enjoyed as a family weight game. It didn't do enough for me to recommend it as a game night game. So normally I would not keep this game. However, the kids in my class really enjoyed it, and now I actually have my own private shelf in the classroom where I'm going to be able to keep games. So I'm going to be keeping this game on that shelf, but though once I quit that job or get a different job, I have a feeling this one is going to go out of the collection because it's a little bit, it's not versatile enough, and there's a lot of other better push your luck games, but as a family weight press your luck game, this one's good, even though the box is way too large. Man, I forgot to mention that in the review. I'll have to do that in the addendum. Last but not least, on this particular one, is Come Together from Vice Games. This is a very interesting two-player game that is specifically for people who are in relationships, intimate relationships, be that boyfriend-girlfriend, boyfriend-boyfriend, husband-wife, FWBs, whatever. And this is a game all about exploring your desires, what your fetishes are. It's a very out there, interesting game, and it is absolutely fantastic. If you are in an intimate relationship, I wholeheartedly recommend this game. If it's a healthy one, if it's an unhealthy one, does not matter. This is a fantastic way to safely talk about what you are into and what your significant other is into. And I remember interviewing the designer of this game, and forgive my crude language, he said the whole point of this game is to make people have better sex. And yeah, I got a Bauer's Best seal, so you could pretty much read between the lines that I love this game for a variety of different reasons. It's going to be going on my shelf, and I recommend this game to everyone who is in an intimate relationship. Just pure and simple. Fantastic, fantastic game. This needs to be in marriage counselor's office. Everyone needs to have this game if you enjoy, sex. Alrighty then, let's talk about some games that I'm going to be keeping, I'm going to get rid of. Alrighty then, the next game is A Tale of Pirates from Cranio Creations. This is an outstanding... Alright then, the next game is A Tale of Pirates from Cranio Creations. This is an outstanding Legacy-X game where you're going to be taking control of pirates. It's a worker placement, real-time, app-based game where you're going to have this big pirate ship out here. You're going to have these sand timers, which are your workers, and you have to wait until the sand completely runs out before you can take the actions. And you're going to be playing over the course of 10 chapters. It is an outstanding family game. that I really enjoyed. Check out the review of that one. It looks like your cup of tea. This one is not going into my collection right now. I'm probably going to give it to my buddy Eric so he can play with his family, but it will be going back into my collection eventually when I play it with my son when he gets a little bit older. So, Tale of Pirates, really, really enjoyable one. Next one is Ticket to Mars. This one is going out of my collection because it's boring. Just stupid and boring and just stupid and boring and stupid and boring and frustrating. And one of the biggest things that really bugs me about this game is the fact that they don't actually tell you when the game ends in the rules. So in this game, you have 4 actions you can take. You can either put people on a spaceship, take people off spaceship, move people from spaceship to spaceship, and I'm bored just talking about it. It's a very light family weight game, but the kids in my class were bored by this game. The adults that I played it with were bored by this game. I was bored by this game, and it doesn't have enough meat on the bones. It's not that interesting, and not one that I'm going to be keeping. Next game is Spy Code Safebreaker, Scan, Spy, Solve. This is a really cool concept for a game in which you're actually going to have this safe, like an actual safe, and you have to enter the number into the safe. So there's going to be a number that you enter in the safe, and you're going to have to listen to the safe using this thing right here and pick a number. And the number will be like, oh, you need to pick a higher number or a lower number. It's a really cool concept for a game. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Like, I played it 12 times now, and it's worked twice out of those 12 times. So, no, I'm not going to keep you. And forget you, Safebreaker. This should have been an awesome game for me and my son to play, and me to play with my classroom for years to come. But unfortunately, it doesn't work properly, so steer clear of that one. The next one is Curse Court from Atlas Games. This game really caught me by surprise. It's going to be making my collection, not for the lower player counts, but for 5 and 6 players in particular. I think this is a great 6-player game. Theme-wise, the theme's no theme whatsoever. You're in a court, and the theme just doesn't make any damn sense at all, which is unfortunate. But in this game, you are going to be bidding and bluffing on different spots in the court, which will be kind of like tic-tac-toe-esque thing where I think this person, and this person are going to come up on the court, and people have to double your bid. And it's not perfect information. Like, you'll have information and your partner will have information, and you'll share that information, but everybody else won't have that information, and how you use that information is really the crux of this game. It's easy to learn and easy to teach, but not without the components in front of me. So this explanation is terrible. But if you're in the market for a 5 and 6 player game, in particular a 6-player game, I really like Curse Court. This one is going under my shelf, and this is going to be one of those ones that I grab as a 6-player game, especially a gateway 6-player game. Really enjoy Curse Court, one that I think is going to go under the radar because of the bad name and the bad theme. But still, really cool game. Don't let this one fly under your radar if you routinely hit 6 players. Next one is Panic Mansion from Blue Orange Games. I'm going to be keeping this one. It's going to be going into my classroom until my son gets old enough to really enjoy it. And it's a really simple game where you're going to have this rectangle. And it's going to be like this haunted house, and you're going to have eyeballs and spiders and all sorts of stuff in there. And you're just going to be moving this box, trying to get all the different things on a picture into a room. It's stupid, it's simple, but it's fun. I mean, that's the bottom line. This one's going to go in my classroom. The kids really enjoyed it. It's a little bit stressful as everybody's racing, but I really like this one. It has good components, and Panic Mansion, it's not going to be for everybody, but as a family game, it's a whole heck of a lot of fun. So I will be keeping that one, bringing it in my classroom. Next one is Blast Box. This one is another one that's probably going to be staying at home. While the kids in my classroom really enjoyed this game, my 4-year-old also really loved this game. And it's a stupid simple game. You get a box, and you're hammering nails into this box. And underneath the box, there's going to be balloons, and you're trying not to pop those balloons. And it's fun. It's just dumb, simple fun. This one's a target one, but if you have young kids, I think they're really going to enjoy it. We actually played it with my son, who's going to be 2 in about a couple weeks, and he really enjoyed just hammering it in there. So it is really a game that the entire family can play, from 85-year-old grandma to your 2-year-old kids. This is a great family game, and the older kids, 10 and 11-year-olds, liked it as well. So Blast Box, one that I will be keeping. A lot of fun there, even though it is just your typical simple mass market game. It's all completely luck. With all these games going into my collection, that means I have to get games out of the collection, unfortunately, and 13 Days is the one that is going to be out of the collection. Actually, yeah, this is the only game that's going to be going out of the collection as I slowly purge my collection, which hurts me, because I really like 13 Days. It's a really cool Cold War era game. It's an area control game, and I liked it an awful lot, but the thing is, it's just not getting played. I like the game better than my wife did, and here's the thing. The big thing is I haven't played it in so long, that I would have to go back and reread the rules, which I don't want to do. Because while I enjoyed the game, I don't think it was good enough that I enjoyed it that much that I'd go back and read the rules for, 15, 20 minutes before playing it. So in the end, 13 Days, the Cuban Missile Crisis, while I did enjoy the game, and I think it's a good game, it's just not getting played. So, gotta get out of here. Next game is Alchemist Tree. This is one I picked up at Essen, and it's a good game. It's a good themeless game. Once again, I think that's like the story of the day here. Ticket to Mars, completely themeless. Curse Court, completely themeless. Alchemist Tree, completely themeless. And it's a good game where you're going to be collecting gems, pulling them out of a bag, and then making potions and trying to get victory points in a variety of different ways. Biggest problem I have with this game is that it reminded me of Century Spice Road, and it reminded me of Splendor, both in player count, in its gateway aspect, in the fact that you're doing things to get stuff, to do things, to get points. But at the same time, I can't recommend this game, and the reason the game is leaving my collection is because I like Splendor better, just vanilla Splendor even, and I like Century Spice Road better, and I don't... I know if I kept this game, which I think I would have kept it, 3 or 4 years ago, it's just not going to get played. It's going to be like 13 Days where it's just not going to get played because I would rather play Splendor. I'd rather play Century Spice Road. And while I like this game, I think it's a good game, and my wife actually really liked this game, we both still agreed that we like those other two games better. So Alchemist Tree not making the cut. Last game that's not making the cut, shocker, is Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas game, which is... yeah, once again, it's another this is a spin and move game where you're trying to spin around Whoville to pick up presents to take them back to your house, because we all know the Grinch doesn't rob houses. Oh wait, what's that? Yes, he does rob houses, so the Grinch then goes around the outside of the town and steals your presents. But luckily, you know what you can do to make the Grinch not steal your presents? You can't really do anything. If you're at your house, then... he doesn't steal the presents, but if you're at your house, it's completely random. Also, he takes your presents and he returns them to the store, which is odd. I don't know. It's not a good game. It's mass market crap. Alright, the next game is Castellan from Steve Jackson Games. This is a 2-player abstract game in which you're actually going to be building a castle with these plastic pieces. It's essentially like the dot game. Remember the game where you had all the dots and they were in little grids, and then you would take turns drawing lines, and when you filled in a box, you got to put your letter in there, and whoever had the most points won. It's kind of like that, but with some bonus double multipliers and some cards. I really liked it. I surprisingly really enjoyed this game, and I will be keeping this game. And if you like 2-player abstract games that actually... this is definitely one you might want to check out. So Castellan, this is one that's going into my collection. Probably going to go into my classroom. The kids in my class that I played with really enjoyed it. Another game that's going to be going in my collection is Rat Trap. It is a very simple negotiation/bribery game. That's what the kids in my class called it. I really enjoyed this game. It's easy to learn. It's easy to teach. I think it's a great family game. It's kind of like my first negotiation/bribing game. It also has some extra stuff you can throw in there, like rolls you can put in there when you can bump up the complexity, which I really like. Really enjoy this one a lot more than I was expecting to. That is Rat Trap from Tiki Editions. This is definitely one you might want to check out if you're in the market for a family game. So that one is going into my collection. The game that's going out of my collection is Rumpelstiltskin from AEG. I enjoyed this one when it came out. I thought it was an okay to a good micro game. I think I'd like it. I think I'd probably keep it if it actually was in a pouch as opposed to the box. But the bottom line is this just hasn't gotten played. And part of the reason why it hasn't gotten played is because it's in a box instead of a pouch, and I'm just a lot less likely to grab it. I know it's kind of stupid reasoning, but hey, whatever. Rumpelstiltskin out of the collection. So yeah. Another game, we got Harry Potter Mystery at Hogwarts game. And this one's really simple. I'll give you the short synopsis. Do you like Harry Potter? Do you like crappy versions of Clue? If you answered yes to both those, then this is the game for you. Otherwise, you're going to want to steer clear. Essentially, this is Harry Potter Clue. They really tried to do some cool things with the IP. And they focused on the theme of the game and getting across the Harry Potter and the fact that you're wandering around Hogwarts. And that's all well and good. But at the same time, that kind of, I don't know, it just ruined the game a little bit. They took Clue and they made it worse, which is a bummer, because this could have been a really cool diamond in the rough, but instead, it is a boring mass market piece of crap that could have been so much better. Thanks a lot, Mattel. Another game that is going out of the collection is the Oracle of Delphi, or Delphi, I'm not quite sure, from Tasty Minstrel Games. I really enjoyed this game when I played it, when I reviewed it, and I think we got it to the table maybe 3-4 times. I got it to the table once after that, and it just hasn't hit the table since then. It is a Stefan Feld game, unlike any other Stefan Feld games. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to win, but it's a race game, so you have to do all the different things. I shouldn't say there's a lot of different ways to win. There's a lot of different things to do in the race, and you can do them in the different order that you want to. The problem with this game is there's a lot to explain, there's a lot to teach in this game, and I don't remember how to play the game. It's going to be one of those games where I would love to get it out and play it maybe once a year, once every year or two, but I would have to read the rules each and every time, and I just don't want that in my life. So unfortunately, the Oracle of Delphi, while I really do enjoy this game, I think it's a great game, and I would play it at the drop of a hat, I just don't want to go back and read the rules every single time I play it, so out of the collection. Not to mention, I still am keeping Colosseum, Orleans, and Guilds of London, which are all the same size, and while not the same games necessarily, are about the same time length. So yeah, keeping those, getting rid of this one, unfortunately. Game that's going into the collection is Outlive from La Boîte de Jeu. This is a really cool worker movement game. I don't want to call it a worker placement game. It's a worker movement game where it's a post-apocalyptic theme. The themes that comes across really well in this game. I played it terribly wrong the first couple times I played it. Figured out that we were playing it wrong. Tried it the right way. I liked it slightly less the right way, oddly enough, but still a great game. This one's going to go into my collection. Very interesting mechanisms. Essentially, it's a survival game. You have this little city that you're working on, and you are upgrading your city. I guess it's a bunker or something like that. You have to worry about radiation and feeding your people and all sorts of good stuff. Really enjoyed this one. I hope this one gets some legs. I'd love to see an expansion with more cards, more equipment, more of this, more of that. Great game. That is Outlive. Another game that I will be keeping is Kamasutra, the game, from Vice Games. Now, this game is a very hard game to get to the table. I might not get this game to the table for the next 2 or 3 years, but when I do, and it's probably not going to be played at the table, this game is just pure and simple, a lot of fun, and a lot of laughter. It's a hard game to recommend, because if you don't think you can get it played, then you probably won't get it played. But if you think there's a chance you can get it played, this is a hilarious game where you and another person are going to be partners. You're going to put balloons between your genital areas. You're going to get in the Kamasutra position, and you are going to try to pop the balloons. And inevitably, everyone is going to end up laughing really, really hard. I played it twice. Really enjoyed this game. That is Kamasutra, the game, by Bruno Feduti, of all people. Keeping onward with the trend of games that I'm going to be keeping, we have Yummy Yummy Pancakes from Korea Board Games. This is a really simple game where you are going to have a pan, and you are going to flip these pancakes into the air, and then it's pretty much just a simple guessing game where someone is going to try to guess what pancakes were flipped in the air. This is definitely a family/children's game, but you know what? My son loves this game, and I actually have fun playing it with him. My wife does as well. The kids in my class enjoyed this game. So Yummy Yummy Pancakes. If you have kids ages, I'd say 3 to 10, I think this is really a great family game that you might want to check out. Continuing onward, we have Dragon Pets. Man, this game really surprised me. I'm going to be keeping this game. It's from Japanime Games. It is a really enjoyable family weight game that has a little bit more bite than you're expecting it to. Essentially, one person's going to roll the dice, and then you're going to be picking cards from a grid based on what the dice are that you roll. It's a matching game, though, because you're trying to match matching pairs of dragons. So you need a male dragon and a female dragon of the same color, and if you do that, you're going to get coins for them. But the catch is it has Ticket to Ride-esque rules, where if you don't make those matches, those are penalties at the end of the game. The kids in my class really enjoyed this game. I actually surprisingly really enjoyed this game. I think it's a little bit too late for my game night. This is definitely one that's going to go in my classroom, but kids in my class, and I'd say ages 9.5 to 9.5 plus, are going to enjoy this game. If you have older games, I think this is a good family game. And also, if you play lighter games on your game nights, this might be a filler weight game you want to check out, as it clocks in at about 20 to 35 minutes. Continuing on with lightweight games, we have Ancestry from Calliope Games. This is from Eric Lang. And this game is a very simple drafting game where you are going to be building a family tree. And you're going to be getting points by having coins, or by having the longest generations of things, or by doing some other stuff. I think there's like 3 different ways to score points, and they're all really simple. It's easy to learn, it's easy to teach, and there was just enough to this game to keep me interested. If you play lighter games, I think you are absolutely going to enjoy this game. Now, if you play heavier games and maybe medium to heavy games, I don't think this is going to necessarily be for you. But this one did just enough for me. I think I'm going to bring it into my classroom to see if it gets played. If not, you know, I don't know. I would rather play a lot of other games. I'd rather play Sushi Go, and I'd rather play 7 Wonders than this, and there's a couple other drafting games I'd rather play over this one. But I will say the other people I played this with like this game better than I did. So take that into consideration. Ancestry, I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I might take it to my classroom, or I might give it to a friend of mine who really seemed to enjoy this game. So that is Ancestry, one that I think a lot of people are like, but for me, it was good. It was good. I'm not willing to go, it's great. Continuing onward, we have Zoo Ball, the king of sports from Osprey Games. This is okay, and I wanted it to be so good. It's got this really cool map that you're going to set out, and it's really cool theme. You know, animals playing sports, yes, and it's like soccer, and you have to flick stuff, and it's like, yes, that all sounds good to me. But then the gameplay itself is just stupid simple. Like, so incredibly simple, and that was a turnoff to me. And it's just like, there's not even ways to really bump up the complexity in the game, and I felt like it was a giant missed opportunity. So I will be putting this into my classroom to play with my kids, play with some of the very younger kids who want to join. It's a fun flicking game. It's good for building fine motor skills, but at the end of the day, it's nothing more than good. So this is not one I can really recommend, but it is one that I'm going to play with the kids in my classroom, especially the younger kids. Next we have Woohoo from Brain Games. This is for ages 3+, so you have to consider that when I tell you about this game, and it's okay. You know, it's not Haba. It's not Haba stuff, but for 3-year-olds, it's okay. And I'm going to play it with my 2-year-old and see if he likes it. If he likes it, we'll keep it. If he doesn't gravitate towards it, this one is going to go out of the collection. So I have quite a few games like that. Quite a few games that I'm like on the fence about. One game that is going out of the collection is Brewing USA from Adam's Apple Games. I enjoyed this game. I think it is a fun bidding game where you're going to be bidding on different things and brewing beer, and I enjoyed that aspect of the game. It's just one of those games, the rules are not that well done. It's one of those games where I'm not going to remember the rules each and every time I play it, and I don't want to go back to those frustrating rules each and every time I did it. And the reason why I got rid of this game is actually because I got a chance to play it about 2 weeks ago, and I sat there for about 20 minutes trying to go through the rules when I told everybody I know how to play it, and it was just because I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not quite sure how this rule works, how this rule works. And that's, you know, it's the same thing with the Oracle of Delphi, or Delphi. You know, if I can't remember how to play the game simple enough because it's not memorable enough, that is a problem, and that's one that's, while I still think this is a good game, I do. I think this is a good game. I might even say this is a great game for a lot of people. And there's elements of this game that I think are absolutely great, especially the bidding and some of the special ability cards. But for me personally, out of the collection. We got 2 more games. Man, there's a big stack over here. Next one, Kweli Ins. This is a very simple game from Lifestyle Board Games for ages 4+, in which you're going to be taking your little Aqualian, which is this cute guy right here, and racing to put tentacles / legs and arms on him, and you have to get 3 legs and 2 tentacles, and whoever's able to do that first is the winner. It's okay. Yeah, this is one that my 4-year-old likes, so I'll play it with him for the time being. I think he's going to get bored out of it, and then I would say this is probably going to be out of the collection in the next couple months, to be brutally honest with you. And then last but not least, we have Daya Monsters from IDW Games. This one's going straight into my classroom. The kids really enjoyed this game. It goes up to 6 players, and it plays the higher player counts pretty well. The box is stupidly large. Like I said in the review, I think I could fit about 10 to 12 of the game in this box, which annoys me to no end. But it's still a fun family weight game that has that get bit aspect where even if a kid doesn't know how to play the game, they still have a chance to win a hand from time to time because there's only 5 cards and you're just playing cards kind of random. You can still win the game. Whew, that's a lot. So that's what's going in / out of the collection. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. As always, thanks for your time, YouTube.